Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what happened. I plugged the phone in to the charger and the screen went blank. So I don't know what happened there, but we're back. And what's fun like it is so heated at the moment. I can feel the heat. I'm not bothered about the heat. Okay. So I'll wait for the number of people online to get to 20 and then we'll get started. We've got 19, we need to make it 20. Come on, guys, make it 20. Come on, guys, out to 17. We need to make it 20. Okay, no, let's get started. Anyway, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma alimna ma yanfa'una wa anfa'na bima 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Okay, so I woke up this morning, and I had a plan to do something, and unfortunately, I got sidetracked to this something else. Anyway, so basically, let's give a backdrop story. This individual, Sheikh Faaris, now he is as far as I'm aware, a da'i, someone who gives da'wah to al-Islam in UAE, and I guess UK, I guess his English audience, and that's great. And I haven't really followed him, but I see on his Instagram page got a lot of beneficial reminders and such. But one particular video, this one here, where he released back in March, he tagged, someone who watched the video tagged me into his video here and said, oh, basically something like, Sheikh, if you got it wrong and if you want to have more information about Bitcoin, speak to Muawiyah, which is me, and then they tagged me into the conversation. And I had no idea who this guy is, never seen this guy before in my life. But I just said, yeah, ahlan wa sahlan, whenever you're ready, I'm always available. You can talk to me privately, openly, whatever, I'm always available. And that was great. He said outright, no, I'm not interested. I said, okay, but just let you know that, I've been into crypto for a very long time. I'm a student of Sheikh Suleiman al-Ruhaili, who is referencing this fatwa from Sheikh Suleiman al-Ruhaili. So Sheikh Suleiman is my Sheikh. I studied with him directly for many years. So I said, whatever. So if you want to chat to me, great. And he said, not interested. I said, okay, cool. And I moved on, like as one does, moves on. I did express to some people that I am not agreeing with his viewpoint, and I have offered to discuss it with him, but he has refused. And I made it clear to highlight a part that he refused, because I don't want people to think, that somehow I'm reluctant. And I think it's important for a da'i, according to al-Islam, to always be humble with themselves, always be humble that maybe what they are saying is incorrect, and it's possible someone who is lower than yourself may be able to share some knowledge with you that you can benefit from. So I wanted to do that. I wanted to share that information to him, and he refused. And I said, fair enough, that's fine. I found it weird that he didn't even want to discuss with me privately, and that's usually a telltale sign of a bitter no-coiner, someone who's salty that maybe didn't get Bitcoin earlier, or whatever the case may be. But I'm not bothered. I've gone past the stage where I care if people don't like Bitcoin or not. Whatever they want to do, they do what they need to do. So I moved on with my life, and that was the end of that one. I bumped into him again in Twitter, not too long after that first incident, and I again said to him, if you want to have chat, let's chat. And he reiterated, Barakallah feek, brother, I know you do good work, blah, 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 but no. Basically, that's what he said. I know you're good, bro, but no. I said, all right then. That it is what it is. Anyway, so that was it, and that was when I first launched my YouTube channel and my website, Crypto Hash Review, where I try to educate and disseminate information about Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies from a Muslim perspective, and blah blah. I actually DM'd him the link to my website and my videos so that maybe he can benefit and learn and add to his knowledge. It's not about convincing someone, it's about adding to your knowledge. Even if you don't agree. But he didn't want to agree. So we moved on. Now, fast forward, now it was March. Our first conversation when he released this was March. Now April, May, now we're in June. So 3 months have passed, and then he released another video today. Another video today. And again, repeating the same nonsense. Give me 1 second, someone just opened the door. Hold on. And again, I just thought, he's still saying the same old nonsense. And I just said this time round, if you look at my status, you can see what I said. I said, you're still spreading lies and misinformation. But if you want to chat to me on a live, you're welcome to come and chat nicely and politely. Brother, I'm in a lesson here. Could you close up, please? Shukran. Thanks. Sorry, just someone's looking around in the center. And so yeah. And then apparently his reaction was a bit vicious. Well, I won't say vicious. I mean that's a bit harsh. His reaction was a bit sharp, to say the least. His reaction was a bit sharp. Accusing me of bad adab and so on and so forth. And maybe I could have approached it in another way. Who knows? At this stage, I don't really care. And you know why? Because the analogy I gave to someone else earlier on today, I said, it's like if I said to you, by the way, when 5 years ago, I used to be a woman, but then I got myself changed to be a man. That's an outright lie, but I've just told the person a lie. And now they've heard that lie, and now they are telling other people this lie. That's not their fault. Yeah, because they didn't know. They just believed what I said and they accepted it, and now they're telling other people about it. But then someone else says to them, by the way, brother, that's not true. That's actually a lie. I was never been a woman. At some level, you must think to yourself, well, should I at least verify? Should I at least find out? This person's telling me that what I'm saying isn't true. So, okay. At the very least, you say, okay, where's your evidence? Where's your, as us Salafis say, where's your dalil, innit? Where's the dalil? But he refused. And for him to continue repeating the same thing again, it did annoy me a bit. It did annoy me a bit. Because now it's like, okay, you have someone telling you that what you're saying is not true, and yet you don't even want to hear the discussion, not even in private, and then you still repeat that same thing again. What does that really... Yeah, you get the gist. For me, so I got a bit annoyed, and I did use the word spreading lies. That was deliberate, by the way. I said spreading lies. Not that I said he's a liar, because I know some people, they misunderstood that. They thought that I was accusing him of being a liar. No. A person can spread lies without being a liar. They can be truthful, but they just convey something that's not true, which is what this guy is doing. And in all my videos, I've always avoided talking about people directly because I've always given people the benefit of the doubt. But it's only because I've said to this person both privately and publicly over and over again, let me just tell you where you got it wrong, and he still refused to even hear what I have to say. I just thought, you know what? Whatever. I have to just address this directly on. But then it started to turn a bit dark. Then it started to go a bit dark, my friend. It started to go a bit dark. So then, as I announced I want to do this live, my man DMs me in it. And he said some stuff about Yawm al-Qiyamah, who get back for me and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And I read the conversation on my thing. And I said, Hayakallah, may Allah give you life. And he said, La Hayakallah, may Allah not give you life. Now, whatever. I mean, I don't care. I mean, end of the day. Because I know that Allah is just. And Allah's not going to answer the dua of dhulm. I mean, you're making dua to Allah to shorten my lifespan because I'm calling out your batil. Whatever, man. If you want to say that, do as you wish. But that is entirely up to you. But what it doesn't demonstrate, though, is a certain character trait with this individual. Not only is he not willing to listen, to a gentle discussion, which is what I said to him. I said, let's just discuss amongst ourselves. No. Not only is he not interested in doing that, he's not interested in even someone correcting his mistake, which is a mistake. If I said something about Al-Islam on my live, on any one of our platforms, and someone said to me, brother, that's wrong, I'll say, ahlan wa sahlan, give me the daleel. And wallahi, inshallah, I ask Allah to give me tawfiq, I will say that's wrong. I will come back and make another video and say it's wrong. Because my ego means nothing compared to the deen of Islam. It means nothing. So that's what kind of annoyed me. And that's kind of why, in my eyes, I don't mind doing something like this, which I'm sure he's going to be upset about, but I gave him a chance. We could have dealt with this amicably, but rather we have to now resort to doing this. I tried to prepare this video a bit more than it is now, with something more, but I didn't get enough time. I was entertaining an old friend and guest and whatnot. But it is what it is. So that's where we are at the moment. So now I'm just going to go back to his original video, and I want to just give some more information, insight into some of the things he was saying and why I said they were lies. Now, my approach has always been with Bitcoin. I'm not here to force anyone to put their capital into Bitcoin. That's not what I'm here for. If anyone actually has been following anything I've been saying, I've always said to someone, whenever people say to me, bro, should I buy Bitcoin? I've always said, and if anyone of you guys are spoken to, please say it in the description, in the comments below. I've always said, don't buy anything, don't get any Bitcoin until you have found good reason in yourself to do so. And do not let the price action of Bitcoin deceive you. Don't think that because Bitcoin price is going up, you must get it. Don't do that. That's wrong. Sorry, not sinful. I'm saying that's wrong motive. You're gonna go into it and you're gonna get burnt. What you need to do is find a good reason to have Bitcoin. Just like I say, have a good reason to buy a car, or have a good reason to start a new business, or have a good reason to spend $1,000 on a new iPhone. Have a good reason to spend your money. Don't just do so because everyone else is doing so. That's what I've always said. And I think that's a fair and balanced approach. Educate yourself, learn about what Bitcoin is, what Bitcoin wants for us, or wants for you, or what you can gain from it to benefit and improve your lives. But as for spreading misinformation and false fatwa, and I do call it false fatwa, you can quote me on it if you want to, then I think that's wrong. I think it's wrong. And let's not delay. You're not here to hear me chat and rant. You're here to deal with this thing. So let's deal with it. Let me know if you can't hear it.
Let me clarify. When I say Bitcoin, I mean in general cryptocurrencies. And cryptocurrencies are digital or virtual currencies, virtual money.
Okay, so he first starts off by saying cryptocurrencies. When he's talking about cryptocurrencies, he's not talking about Bitcoin only, but cryptocurrencies as a whole. And that's a mistake. That's a mistake. Because there are so many cryptocurrencies, about 4,000 different types of cryptocurrencies, all doing different things. Some are decentralized and some are not. So to have a blanket statement about every single one of them is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. And I don't think you can, it's probably back to front to you guys, I'm not sure. And that just says cryptocurrencies and big, anyway, if it's back to front, I apologize. Maybe I'll flip it in my YouTube version. So he's already started off wrong, which is what a lot of ulama do, start off wrong by talking about Bitcoin and say cryptocurrencies. You have to address things individually. Even in terms of technology, how Bitcoin works is not the same as how Ethereum works, not the same as how Cardano works, not the same as how SXP works. They all work and function differently now. Different protocols, different ideologies, different goals. Everything's completely different. So you can't talk about all of them in one basket. And that's why some of them are halal by definition, by what they are, and some of them are haram. So some of them are halal by definition, and some of them are haram by definition. It depends what it is. As for me, I have always said to people, I've always discussed and spoken about Bitcoin. Ask anyone who's been commenting here. They always say, bro, what do you reckon? What do you say about Ethereum? What do you say about XRP? What is I said, look, Bitcoin. Ask anyone. I've always say Bitcoin. Because I'm not here to deal with all the 4,000 different currencies out there. I'm here to deal with Bitcoin. And there's a reason for it. We're going to come to it in a minute. So as it relates to this, I'm going to focus on Bitcoin. And the joke is even he's focusing on Bitcoin, which is another kind of not being fair. unjust. You can't talk about Bitcoin and then clump all of them in together in your this. You can't do that. You have to speak correct about Bitcoin only. And as you hear, he speaks of Bitcoin. So he's talking about Bitcoin, but he's clumping all the rest of them in together.
They're not like credit cards and debit cards. They don't have any connection to any physical money.
Yeah, Bitcoin cryptocurrencies are not connected to any physical money. There you go. You can already see a problem here right now. Physical money. What is physical money? Now, let's clarify the misinformation here. 97% plus of all the money in circulation does not physically exist. When governments print money, most of it is just digital. They go into their type in the screen, they press enter, and now they have new money. You go to the bank, you get a loan, and new money is created. Less than 3% of all the money that is actually physical, what he's saying physical, that is physical, actually is physical. So less than 3% of it is actually physical. So not even his understanding of what money is correct. It's actually incorrect. Fiat money doesn't physically actually exist for the most part. Secondly, he says, like real money, credit cards, and even fiat money, which I call it's called fiat, they are loans, interest-bearing loans. He's calling real money, the good money, interest. Let us think in for a minute. What he's saying is the real money that we must live and die by and is halal is actually riba. When you go to the bank and you borrow money to buy a house and they issue you money to get a mortgage, that is freshly printed money from the bank that came into existence through riba. Let us sink in as we continue on.
And what I'm about to say does not only include, I'm not talking only exclusively about Bitcoin, but all cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, if you want to say that, you could do that, but they're not all the same. So that again highlights the misinformation that you have about Bitcoin and our cryptocurrencies, and to clump them all into one basket is completely wrong. There are some cryptocurrencies that are not even currencies. There are images or like what's called NFTs. They're not the same thing. So anyway, I've made a point.
Some of them are, of course, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Litecoin, Stellar.
Drop in names here.
Cryptocurrencies rely on very, very complex mathematical equations.
Nope, they don't actually. So I have a whole video series which talks about how Bitcoin works. And what it is, people sometimes they summarize what mining, what he is referring to is mining. When you mine a coin, they say some massive complex calculation and then you get a coin. That's not how it works. It actually is very simple. It's literally very simple. Bitcoin, all it is that you have a block of transactions, you could say a piece of data, a file. Let's say a file. Let's do an analogy. Let's say an Excel spreadsheet. So there's an Excel spreadsheet. On this Excel spreadsheet, there are a list of transactions. He said how much to that person. He said how much to that person. But a list of transactions. Once you put all these transactions in the spreadsheet, there now needs to be an additional number. We don't know what the number is. An additional number that if you put it together along with everything else, it gives you a result. When you run it through a calculation, it gives you a result of 0.00000 blah blah. So basically, you put it through a very simple formula, not a complex calculation, a very simple formula that allows the result to look a certain way. It's a bit like saying to you, find me a number that's divisible by 2. That's a pattern. Find me a number that's divisible by 2. That's like 4 or 8 or 32 or 168. All those numbers are divisible by 2. That's all it is. So when it comes to Bitcoin, all miners are doing is searching for this number that gives the whole total block or spreadsheet a very particular look. I divided by 2 or 1. Go to my video, which explains what miners are doing, but they're not calculating, it's not doing any complex calculation, they're just looking for a number. So let me give a real life scenario. It's like me saying to you, I have £1,000,000 in my hand. I will give this £1,000,000 to anyone who can find me a grain of sand on the beach that is green. Now, as you know, sand is like yellowish, isn't it? Now, if you look closely, some are different shades of yellow. You might have some brown or not, but there will be definitely some, very small amount, that has a shade of green. But it's hard to find. So you have to go in there, you have to look, you can sift through all these grains of sand. And when you find that, whoever finds that grain of sand, say, look, I found the grain of sand. Here you go. Can I have £1,000,000, please? And they get £1,000,000. That's all miners do. It's not a complex calculation. They are just looking for one simple number to lock in the block. I'm not going into details, but basically the point is, I'm saying this is to highlight that his understanding of what Bitcoin is wrong. That's the first thing. Number two, why is this process necessary? This is one of the most important things. We need to get this before we move on. I'm going to spend a bit more time on this. What gives Bitcoin value? Because this is at the crux of all of this whole discussion. If you look at it, if you actually analyze what he's saying, at the core of it is what gives Bitcoin value. According to him, it has no value. But that's because he hasn't understood what value is. Okay, if you had a spreadsheet that you spent all weekend developing, maybe you're a manager of a business, and you want to make a spreadsheet that you can do your stock accounts, and you can do your wages, everything in one spreadsheet. You run your whole business in one spreadsheet, and you spent a whole weekend coding this spreadsheet. Now you've finished, and you have your spreadsheet. You have this file, which is 1 megabyte large, of all that hard work, coding, formatting, and making it look nice and pristine. Then your neighbor comes along and says, can I have it? And you're like, sure, you can. But deep down, you think to yourself, why does he get it for free? I spent a whole weekend working hard, making this thing, and this guy just comes along and just takes it for free. I could do that. I mean, it would be sadaqah, it would be charity. But realistically, no one would object for me to say, I will give you a copy of the spreadsheet, but pay me for it. Okay, so same scenario. I say, I am looking for grains of sand that are green. This beach, 99.9% of all the grains of sand in this beach are yellow or red, but there are very few of them that are green, and I need them to make a special type of glass that has a green tint to it, for example. So I need grains of sand. So I tell you to do that, and one guy comes with a whole bucket load of green grains of sand. How did he do that? He went out to the beach and he sifted through all the sand and he picked out all the grains of sand that were green. So now I've given him money because he's actually done work. You understand that? He did work. He actually made effort to get the grains of sand, and that effort is what is rewarded. So when someone says to me, what does Bitcoin, where's the value of Bitcoin come from? It comes from the effort needed to mine it. So if I want to mine a new block on the Bitcoin blockchain, it takes effort. I have to buy the machines. I have to pay workers. I have to pay electricity bills. I have to work sometimes days, weeks even, to get a single block. And when I do get that block rewards me with Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin's value is attached to the work put into it. Now, just to give you another hint, I'll talk about later on how this works out. So let's look at the Prime Minister of El Salvador, who has now made Bitcoin legal tender. Now, Bitcoin's actual currency in the government of El Salvador. He actually has announced he's going to use his volcano to mine Bitcoin. There's energy inside the volcano that could be harnessed and converted into Bitcoin. So that energy has value because it can be used to make electricity. Electricity can be used to power TVs, to power your house, to power your cars. That has value. But if I can't use that value to power my car or my house or my TV, I can now store that value in a digital format called the Bitcoin. So for those of you who are wondering to yourself, what does Bitcoin's value come from? It comes from the energy that is actually put into the blockchain. It might take, it is a quite new thing to get your head around. But like I said, the best way to understand it is to also understand the value of gold. Where does the value of gold come from? The value of gold comes from the fact that if I want to get it, it's a lot of work. If it rained coins of gold every day, gold would have no value. Just like effectively for us in the UK, water technically has almost no value because I can get a bucket and I can collect water from the sky. So no one will say that gold is of the same value of water, the same value of gold, because it's so easy to get. But no doubt, water, its value would increase in localities where it is harder to get, like in deserts. I'm sure people will pay millions of pounds for a bottle of water if they're about to die of thirst. So effort, work, it has value, and that's where the value of Bitcoin comes from. Now, this is why I'm saying cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin are not the same thing, because not every cryptocurrency requires work. Most tokens on Ethereum blockchain requires zero work. You just write the code and all those tokens are made. So you can't equate those tokens with Bitcoin, if that makes sense. Because there's no mining involved in most cryptocurrencies. And even Ethereum is moving away from mining to something else. So we can't say that Bitcoin is the same as all of them when they all exist differently. If anything, most cryptocurrencies are the same as fiat currency, except that fiat currency comes from riba and they don't. But in the sense that they require zero work, or not zero, but only lines of code to make them exist. Whereas Bitcoin, you can't make Bitcoins exist. They only exist through work. I hope that's very clear already. So now listen to what he's saying.
And the source of it, or where it exists, it's on the internet.
No. It's not on the internet. The internet is just a medium to communicate. I could use smoke signals to run Bitcoin. I can use a telephone line to run Bitcoin. You can even have, if you have a satellite dish, if you have Sky at home, you have to turn your satellite dish in a certain direction and pick up the Bitcoin blockchain broadcasted from a satellite from space. It is not just, the internet is just a medium to communicate. That's like saying that my speech is just ink and paper, because I wrote it down. No, my speech is not. It's the paper, just a medium to record what I said. Anyway, you get the gist.
Like I said, there's nothing physical about cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, and here it is. It's in backwards, but unfortunately, yeah. So the fallacy of needing physical things. So this is one of this is what's called skeuomorphism. There's a word called skeuomorphism. When they first made the Apple iPhone, a lot of the features and buttons were imaged off of real life things. Even your computer. When you log into your computer, you go to your desktop. Why do you call it a desktop? It's because when they first had computers in the 80s, they emulated the desktop in the office. So you have your desktop, you have your files and folders. So all these words we use are actually real world representations, but put into the digital world to get your mind around what's actually happening. But there are no desktops on your computer. It's just what we call it. So this happens a lot when new technologies come about. When new technologies come about, because it becomes difficult for us to imagine a world that's so new, we kind of imagine it with the old. So it's a bit like when cars were first made. They used to drive cars with reins that you turn left and right with rope, because they were emulating horse and cart. Because that's all we knew. We had horses and carts for thousands of years. So now you have this thing with an engine and wheels. Then it's just like horse and cart, and it's the same thing. It took a while before they actually got the steering wheel, which was a change in how we do things. So money, since the beginning of time, was physical. But for one simple reason. We had no computers. That's what it was. We had no computers. We had no way to record things digitally. When I say digitally, I mean in the sense that you can actually turn off the system and it's gone. turn it back on, and it's back again. It's a program. It didn't exist. Now you have the closest thing to it would be your memories in your head. Like I remember my name, that's in my head. I can't grab it, it's in my head. That's the closest thing you have to a computer in the past. And that's why historically in books of fiqh, for example, they use things as physical because there's no way for you to verify what's in my head. So I can never have a real currency and not a national currency with just numbers in each people's head. Therefore, we have to have something that can externalize what's in our head into the real world. So we can say, look, this is my proof. Listen carefully. If I said I have money, how do I prove that I have this value? I could tell you that in my head, I had the information. I could tell you I had the value because I did work the other day and the guy paid me with knowledge money. But there's no way to prove that. So historically, the only way to prove that is if something rare and valuable, and I'll come back to the word valuable in a minute, something rare that could prove this knowledge. And that's where we have the physical. And even with computers being digital, the problem with the digital computer is that there's nothing to stop you from copying and pasting and having infinite amount of information. If I have a £10 note image on my computer, I can copy and paste that 1,000,000 times. So there's no way to have scarcity, rarity on the computer until Bitcoin. Bitcoin was the first time in human history we managed to have scarcity in knowledge, whereby I can own knowledge and I can prove it's mine mathematically. It's difficult to understand, which is why there's a lot of resistance. The same resistance that early Muslims had with the printing press. It was so odd and new. We've only learned Islam through memorization and writing scribes. What do you mean printing press? It's very new. It takes time to get used to the idea. But the point is, you don't need to have physical money or money to be physical to prove it. Physical is good and it is a proof. But if you can have ways to prove you have money or scarcity by other means, there's no reason why that won't be allowed. So it's a fallacy that you have to have something physical. You get the gist. Hopefully that's clear.
I need to elaborate on something very important when it comes to money. Naqd. In Islam, two conditions that we accept something as money. The first condition or the first...
Now, I wasn't going to say anything here, but these are two conditions. I've challenged people to bring me evidence for this. It's a logical evidence. It's evidence which makes sense, but it makes sense for a reason. We're going to see why in a minute.
Scenario is that this money has to have its own value by itself.
Here we go. The fallacy of intrinsic value. Now, a lot of people say, oh, Bitcoin is not money because it has no intrinsic value in itself, whereas gold has intrinsic value in itself, and that is a lie. Nah, that's a bit, maybe it's harsh. Lie, I don't know, call it what you like. Point is, it's not true. Reason why it's not true is because value is here. Let that sink in. Value is here. You want gold because you think it has value. If gold rained from the sky due to some freak global warming occurrence, and now everyone on planet Earth now has an infinite amount of gold, we would see it differently. It's because gold doesn't rain from the sky, and it's a rarity to find, why we see it differently. So value is partly subjective as an individual, but on the same time, it can be collective. We can collectively agree in our heads on a value. But the value isn't in itself, it's in what we want from it. Listen carefully. I'll repeat it one more time, because these are nuggets of information. You need to write it down. Value isn't in itself, it is from what we want from itself. So let me give you a scenario. If you're in jail, you're in prison, and you have a bar of gold, but you have no way to transact with it. You can't move it, you can't shift it, it has to stay underneath your mattress. If you show anyone it, they're going to rob you. If you show it to any of the guards, they're going to take it off of you, confiscate it of you. You can't actually use it. So effectively, that piece of gold, to you, is worthless. Listen carefully. You have gold in your hand, but you can never use it. Therefore, it is worthless. And you'd feel what's this? What's the point of this? It's useless. I can't spend it. I can't buy my freedom with it. I can't do nothing with it. It is worthless. Whereas in that same jail cell, I have packs of cigarettes that I can buy goods with it. I can even buy friendship with it if I've lost enough of it. And I can actually do business with cigarettes in jail. And realistically, those cigarettes will be worth more than that gold in your head. And practically speaking as well. So it's not the value in itself, it's what I can do with that thing. What I want from that thing. So this is a fallacy that is intrinsic value. And I always say to people, there's a way to prove all of these guys wrong. And that's by literally, if you can prove it. You can go to the most hateful person towards Bitcoin. If you all do whip round, get money together, and we get one Bitcoin. If you can all gather together one Bitcoin, one whole Bitcoin, which is about £27,000. And we say to these guys, look, here, I'm going to give it to you. I know you don't like Bitcoin. I know it says haram, but here, I'm going to give it to you. Here, take it. And you throw it in their hand. Are you telling me they're going to say, no, I don't want it, it's haram? Because they know in themselves that it's worth something. They all know it. They can lie to themselves and no, it's worth nothing. But they know that if they take it in their hand and go somewhere, they can spend it. And they can buy stuff with it. Maybe even a house or a car. They know they can do that. And because they know they can do that, they have already intrinsically in themselves agreed it has value. So they've even refuted themselves by their own actions. But anyway, just remember this thing, this issue of intrinsic value, because this is you get the gist.
And people accept this value and they start using it for transactions.
Yeah, so this part is true. People accept the value and use it in transactions. Like I said to you, there's a subjective value. I value something. For example, these AirPods, yeah, they're the same as any old AirPods, but I wouldn't exchange it for another one because it's my one. I covered it, nice little cover here. It's my one. It's my one. And also it's been in my ears. It's my one, isn't it? So to me, this has more value than one next to it. Probably not much value as a brand new one, but it's still more than, you know what I mean? It's just, and again, if you had an AirPods, your own AirPods, you would never trade with me because to you, you've got your one and I've got my one. And mine's been in my ears and yours been in your ears. So there's subjective value, but then there's value which is shared collectively. If I go to the market, we can all agree that I'll get a certain amount of value for this one on the market by any Joe. So that's like an accepted collective value. But the problem is with collective values is that it's collective and it could change, as it often does.
For example, gold and silver. As you know, back then, gold and silver was a currency or a type of money that people deal with and use.
Yeah, and they use other things. They use shells, they use tooth, they use glass beads. Mankind has used many things to register and record value. The reason why gold and silver has lasted longer is for one very, very, very good reason. And that's because of the inflation rate of gold and silver and the ability for gold and silver to maintain its value. Listen carefully. If I wanted to store my wealth in dates, so I buy a bag of dates, I could buy £50 worth of dates, and now I have £50 worth of dates. But we all know that in the next month, 2 months, maybe 5 months, it's not going to still be worth £50 because it's now 5 months old. It's going to lose value over time. Food loses value over time. Even property loses value over time unless you maintain it, which means you have to put more money and time into it to maintain it. So things lose value over time naturally through degradation. But gold and silver doesn't. Or silver more so, but gold and silver doesn't. I can have a lump of silver on the table or gold on the table and it will stay a lump of gold for centuries. That's it. It doesn't erode, it doesn't corrode, it doesn't evaporate, it just stays there. So the reason why gold has stood the test of time is because it can maintain value longer than other things can maintain value. But it doesn't mean that other things can't be used to maintain value. That's why in Islam we have the ribawiyat, the things that are that riba is attached to. Gold and silver is one of them because money and riba is attached to it. But also wheat and dates and other sort of things. They're also ribawi because you can use them to store value. I can have my wealth stored in wheat and flour because it can hold its value over a period of time, and you get the gist, and fungibility and that kind of stuff.
Type of money that's acceptable in Islam is money that doesn't have a value by itself, but it's connected to a value.
Now, this is incorrect. Well, correct but incorrect. So he said the second type of money is money that is not in itself, is not intrinsic, whatever that means, but it's connected to something else. And that's not really true because what he's talking about is certificate. I have my gold, I put it into a vault, and the gatekeeper of the vault gives me a certificate that represents my ownership of this gold. So the gold is still here, it has value, still here, but I now have a easy to carry certificate which represents my share and portion of the total value in his vault. It's called certificate. And that's what money became when they discovered paper. They started to use paper to represent what was stored, but the value wasn't in the paper, it was only a certificate. If you ask them, is this worth anything? No, it's only a certificate of what is stored somewhere else. You get the gist? So the proof was always in the gold, not in the paper, but the reason why, listen carefully, what's the reason why? Is because paper is not rare. Paper degrades, it tears, water damage. Paper is not able to store value well enough. It's only a certificate. That's why the US dollar, if you present a US dollar that's been torn in half, as long as you have more than a half, you can get a whole one new because it's only supposed to be representation. It's not itself. So it's not that it is money, it's a representation of something else. So it's an analog. The problem here is, which is the problem he has, as many have, is that they haven't been aware, maybe they're not aware, I don't know, maybe just try and be simple and make it quick, that there was a moment in time where the fiat money was only a representation of that physical gold. Until Nixon decided to say no more. Now we're going to make this thing be itself. And that's when the certificate now became something else. The certificate now became something. It was no longer a certificate. It was no longer a certificate. Even when it says, I bear to witness, I bear to, you can mention it, I bear to give this. No, it changed. It changed everything. And now he's saying that this is supposed to be the actual thing. So we're going to talk about what the actual thing is in a minute.
For example, to the power of economy of a country. And this is what the case with the cash. The cash that we know today, the value of, for example, the Emirati dirham, or the US dollar, or the Kuwaiti dinar, or the Saudi riyal. All these currencies are connected to the power of economy of its country.
And this is what happens when you refuse advice. Because if he had spoken to me, I would have explained to him that this is incorrect. The money we have in our hands is not connected to the economic power of the country. It's connected to debt. Governments borrow money into existence by promising to pay back interest. So the money didn't exist. They promised to pay back the money in interest, and then it came into existence. Listen, came into existence. What's your proof, Muawiyah? Can you give me inconclusive evidence of your claim? Yes. 40%. 40% of all the US dollars that has ever been printed and made and fashioned and created in the history of the United States was printed last year, 2020. You heard me correctly. 40% of all the money that was ever printed was printed in 2020. And the economy of the United States didn't increase last year by 40%. So if you're saying that money is down to the economy and its power, then how are they able to print off 40% when they are in lockdown? Lock down. No one was working. No one was doing anything. Nobody. They were at home. No one. You can't say they did 20-40% extra effort and therefore they created the money. No. They were on lockdown, but they needed money, so they borrowed more. Listen, the fiat money you have right now is not connected to the economy like you think he's saying it. They are just printing new money based on their promise to pay back that money with interest. It is a loan. It is riba. So what he's calling to and saying real money is riba money. Know that.
Also, the insurance of that country to the currency. So the UAE ensures that this is the value of its dirham. This cash that we have, the paper cash that we have. If you see it, you look at it logically, it's a piece of paper. It's colored differently, it has numbers on it. But does it actually have that value by itself? The answer is no. It's from the economy, the power of economy of the country. It decides that this 10 dirham is actually the value of 10 dirham.
So, just listen to what he's saying. Just listen to what he's saying. The country decides that it's worth 10 dirham, and therefore you accept it. So can they just will into existence money? No, that's not what he's saying. Anyway, I've explained to you how money comes into existence. I don't want to waste more time on this. I have over 100 videos on my YouTube channel. Some of them explaining how money comes into existence. Refer to those videos about M1 money or M2 money. It's all interest. All of it is interest. All of it is interest. And what's making it worse? You know what makes it worse, actually? You know what makes it worse? SubhanAllah, you know what makes it actually worse? That 97% of the money that's in circulation never came from the government even. Listen. I'm telling you something secret. Listen. It's a secret, yeah? Most of the money doesn't come from the government. Did you know that? Most of the money doesn't come from the government. It comes from the banks. People go to the bank and they borrow money. And when they borrow money, new money comes to existence. Yes, the government does print money, but then after the government's printed money in circulation, the banks take that money, or not take that money, but banks on top of that print more. Just let that sink in for a minute. Let that sink in. Let that sink in.
This is all written in cash notes. Any money, look at it, you will see that there is a reference and an insurance from the National Reserve or the bank or the government of that country.
Yeah, I mean, So last month, yeah, when Turkish lira lost 40% of its value in one night, what did the Turkish government do about that? Nothing. What did they guarantee? Nothing. What did they give to people? Nothing. What did they guarantee? Guarantee what? Governments do is they force you to take their money. They force you to use their money. Because people in Turkey were using Bitcoin to get around their failing currency, the Turkish government said now it's illegal to use Bitcoin as transactions. All the government's going to do is force you to use their failing currency that they print out of existence. They don't guarantee anything. If they guaranteed anything, how did Venezuela lose their currency? How did Zimbabwe lose their currency? How will these countries across the world lose their value? Did you know that 20 years ago, $1 was equal to 3 Indonesian rupiah? Listen, $1 was equal to 3 Indonesian rupiah. Now it's 20,000 rupiah to $1. What did they guarantee? What did they guarantee? Tell me. What did they... Sheikh, Faaris, what did they guarantee? From 3 rupiah to now 20,000 in my lifetime. What did they guarantee? Anyway, you can see why I get frustrated, because this is nonsense. This is nonsense.
When we apply these two types on cryptocurrency, what do you think cryptocurrency is? It's of course the second type. It doesn't have a value by itself. it's connected to a value. Supposedly, it should be connected to a value because by itself, it's just numbers in a computer.
And this is the funniest thing, look, that by itself are just numbers on a computer. That's fiat money. That is fiat money. By itself, it's just numbers on a computer. When Joel Powell printed off 40% of all of those that have ever been printed last year, he literally said in an interview, when he was asked, how do you make this new money? He said, we just type it into the computer. The leader of the Federal Reserve Bank in America actually said on camera, we just type it in. At least with Bitcoin, you can't get Bitcoin unless you actually work for it. Every single Bitcoin that ever existed, you have to actually earn it. Through labor, electricity, investment. You can't just print it out of nothing, like he's saying, this one is saying. And Jazakallah khair, Assalamu alaikum, Muhammad Kennedy. Ahlan wa sahlan. Anyway, moving on.
Now, when it comes to cryptocurrency, what country insures this money and officially reserves this currency? And what country?
Interesting. El Salvador. Hey, look at that one. Anyway, he said this video like in March, so obviously it never happened at that time. But on Wednesday, El Salvador, a country in Central America, made it now law that if you go to the shop and you want to pay me your money, pay for stuff in Bitcoin, you have to accept it by law. They said that. He said, who country does it? El Salvador, they do it. Yay! It can happen, brother. It can happen. Whether it means whatever that means, but it can happen. And as for guaranteeing it, and they guarantee it. Yay! Look at that one, brother Faaris. Anyway, so what do I mean by guarantee? So El Salvador, I released a video on my channel this morning actually. Basically in El Salvador, they have a program whereby if anyone in the country, any people in the country who don't want to actually hold Bitcoin, the law says you must accept it. If you go to McDonald's or whatnot and buy something in El Salvador, you have to accept Bitcoin. If you don't want to actually keep it, the government will say, we will take it off your hands and give you dollars at point of sale. At point of sale, the government will take your Bitcoin and give you back dollars if you don't want to accept it, but you must accept it. So even the government's guaranteeing it. Hey, look at that one, brother. Yeah,
Uses it. There's no country, there's no official bank that produces cryptocurrency.
Actually, there is now. Yay! Anyway, so again, El Salvador, in an interview on Tuesday night, someone asked the Prime Minister of El Salvador, will the government start mining Bitcoin? And he said, actually, he never actually thought about it. And he mentioned that they do have a geothermal power plant next to a volcano that they were thinking of using to build industrial parks near it. And now he's mentioned it. Now they mentioned it. Why not just put a mining farm next to it? So therefore they can now use the power from the volcano to mine Bitcoin. Yeah. So there we go. We've got a country now that's mining Bitcoin, although we had it already. Pakistan has sanctioned the mining of Bitcoin. Iran has been mining Bitcoin. So countries do mine Bitcoin. Yeah, fighters, they do. But the point is, the worst thing is, this argument he's mentioning, he doesn't even care about it. I mean, that's one of the funny things about all these arguments that these people mention about Bitcoin and say haram. They don't even care about it. Why do you say that, brother? Because when it is demonstrated to be false, they just move to something else. I mean, go and tell him. I can't tell him, he's blocked me, but go to his Twitter, go to his Instagram and say to him, oh, Venezuela, they now mine Bitcoin, they're going to mine Bitcoin, and Venezuela, not Venezuela, El Salvador, they now made it currency. He'll say, oh, but he doesn't really care. He doesn't care. He's making an excuse, but it's like he doesn't really care. So that's why I don't care about his opinion.
Unlike the case with other currencies like the dirham, the dollar, all the currencies, they are referred to a central bank, an official bank of a country. And
this is one of the most saddest, wallahi, the most saddest thing I've ever heard in my life. Not him specifically, but there's one other sheikh in Kuwait. He wrote in his paper in saying that Bitcoin is haram. A whole long discussion in his paper, his fatwa. He said, listen carefully, yeah? This is the saddest thing we ever hear today. He said He doesn't deny that Bitcoin is a currency. So he's not saying it's haram from that aspect, but he said it's haram because Bitcoin harms the central bank. Yes, you heard that. This sheikh said that Bitcoin is haram because it harms the central bank. Okay, brother, what's the job of the central bank again? The job of the central bank is to issue interest or to buy interest-bearing bonds and to regulate the interest rates. The markaz, the center of interest of every country is the central bank. So why would any Muslim who fears Allah on the last day want to preserve that institution? Why? Why would that pay? Why would anyone want to preserve a central bank? Tell me, explain it to me. Please, someone, ask him, why do you want to preserve the central bank that their job is riba? Why? Why? And why would you say something is haram? Because it threatens their job. Why? I mean, you can see I'm frustrated and I have a lot of emotion and I apologize. No, I don't apologize. I'm frustrated because I see Bitcoin as our one chance as Muslims to escape riba, really escape riba, really escape a riba. Because riba is everywhere. It's in our housing, it's in our finances, it's in our business, it's in everything. The only thing riba is not intrinsically in is Bitcoin. Well, I mean, other currencies like Bitcoin and whatever. And these guys say it's haram. Anyway.
It's not like any other currency it's connected to a value of economical power of a country. It doesn't have that. How does cryptocurrency get its value? It's by transactions.
Okay, let me finish.
Like shares. The more it's used, the more it's in the market, the more value it gets.
No. So what he's done, again, misunderstanding. Someone who hasn't done the research. I offered to talk to him. He refused. But someone who has done the research. So yeah, the price of Bitcoin is connected to the purchasing of Bitcoin. So if I was to buy a Bitcoin at a certain price, if I buy enough Bitcoin, more than those will sell, the price will go up and vice versa. But the joke is, that's everything, my friend. Gold as well. And this is another demonstration of hypocrisy. Gold, if I want to push the price of gold down $1,000, all I need to do is have enough gold and just sell it all at once. And I'll push the price of gold down. Because the price of things are determined by buying and selling, by open market. So, why are you criticizing Bitcoin for being like everything else?
And it has very high risk. It's
high risk. Okay. Let me finish.
High risk currency. Today, one Bitcoin is, for example, 100 dirhams. Maybe tomorrow it's 4,000 dirhams. After tomorrow, it's 0.5 dirhams. You don't know how it goes up and down. It's fluctuating. It's high risk.
Okay. Volatility in cryptocurrency's price. Yeah, it is volatile. That's how things are. I mean, literally, that's how things are. I mean, this guy and other guys like him just said earlier on, money is gold and silver. Did you know last year, as in 2020, the price of silver went from $17 an ounce to over $30 an ounce. And then down to $24 an ounce. So silver, what he says is money, went up more than 100% and then dropped down almost 50% in 1 year. That sounds like crypto. So why are you picking on Bitcoin for volatility when silver itself has volatility? Gold itself has volatility. Maybe not as much as Bitcoin, I give it that, but it doesn't mean it doesn't have volatility. So volatility isn't a factor, because if it was, then silver itself would be haram.
I said, who produces Bitcoin or cryptocurrency? It's unknown. No. The body that says we produce Bitcoin and Bitcoin.
Hold on.
It's high risk currency. Today, one Bitcoin is, for example, 100 dirhams. Maybe tomorrow it's 4,000 dirhams. After tomorrow it's 0.5 dirhams. You don't know how it goes up and down. It's fluctuating. It's high risk.
Okay.
Like I said, who produces Bitcoin or cryptocurrency? It's unknown. It's unknown. There's nobody, no official body that says we produce Bitcoin and based on blah, 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 economical power, whatever value. It doesn't have that.
Perfect. He's dug his own grave. Who produces Bitcoin? Nobody knows. Great. That is what makes Bitcoin so revolutionary, because you don't need to know who produces it, because it's a trustless system. The system, the way Bitcoin works, it doesn't need to know who it is, because all you need to know is that number that the miner has found, does it add up to the output we want it to be? Yes, it does. So mathematics guarantees Bitcoin. Just like 1 + 1 always equals 2, and we trust that because of maths, Bitcoin is locked in and guaranteed by mathematics. I have a whole video on it. I'm not gonna waste your time here. Please, I advise you to watch my video on how mining works. I have a whole, anyway, just look at it.
Said the source of Bitcoin is unknown. Now, Bitcoin the source is unknown and it's untraceable.
More lies. I said lies. Remember I said to you it's lies? Lies. Bitcoin is untraceable. Lies. We know when every single Bitcoin came into existence, and we know every single wallet it has been in. We know it. Because Bitcoin is an open record. You can look at every single transaction openly. Open. I can't look into your bank account. It's private. No one knows what's inside the bank account of the US government or any government. It's private. But Bitcoin is open. So it's very much known.
Bitcoin is untraceable. It's encrypted.
And it's encrypted. What? No. That's not how it works. No. Anyway, watch the video. I showed how Bitcoin works.
That's why it's the favorite. It's actually Bitcoin and cryptocurrency all in general. It's used for criminal activities.
On that one, I'm going to let the president of El Salvador to answer that one. He was asked about, when he was discussing about why he made Bitcoin currency in his country, and he was asked about money laundering. Will Bitcoin be used for money laundering and criminal activity? And you know what he said? He said, actually, the cartels, they use the dollar. Mic drop. They use the US dollar. So what makes Bitcoin any different? They use the dollar, they use gold, they use diamonds, they use whatever. The use of something is irrelevant. You can use anything for anything. I can use a kitchen knife to murder someone. It doesn't make kitchen knives haram. And the reason why criminals actually use Bitcoin is because Bitcoin is actually one of the best cryptos you can use. It's not the most private one. It's actually the opposite. Monero is better than Bitcoin in terms of privacy. But they actually don't use Monero. They use Bitcoin because Bitcoin is liquid. Anyway, let's not go into it. It's wrong, basically.
Recently attended the workshop, a 1-week workshop about cryptocurrency and drug trafficking. And it's a huge problem.
Wait. You attended a workshop for 1 whole week about Bitcoin and drug trafficking, and you are unaware that that has been occurring on dollar for decades, my friend. Decades, the dollar has been used for all of that. To this day, it still is used for that. Why the double standards? Why?
It's only by human error the authorities can catch somebody who is using cryptocurrency for any criminal activities. Otherwise, it's 100% secure. Nobody can trace it.
Lies. Everyone can trace it. Do you know, in 2014, Mt. Gox was an exchange that got hacked, and a lot of Bitcoins were stolen from Mt. Gox. And obviously when it was stolen, it got stolen. And obviously it got moved around to different addresses, and then it stopped. To this day, people have been watching that address to see if it's going to move. The moment it moves, they're going to follow it. The moment someone tries to spend it, they know who it was. It's open. It's not encrypted like that. Every transaction is open. If you stole someone's money, they can see where it goes. All you need, which is what he said is true actually, all you need is some idiot to put their deposit that money into their Coinbase account, and then boom, you know who they are because you just traced it to Coinbase. So no, it's not that it's encrypted. It's actually open. The only thing is that we don't know who has access to the keys. It's the only thing. But if someone tries to use that stolen money on any avenue, so let me give an example. Imagine I stole one Bitcoin from you. I stole one Bitcoin from you. You can actually follow that Bitcoin. And if you saw that Bitcoin went into, for example, Amazon's wallet, you can contact Amazon and say, look, I've got a crime report here. This Bitcoin was stolen from my address and it's now gone to you. Who's this person, by the way, who deposited this money into their account? They will give that information to the police. Boom, he's arrested. That's why Bitcoin is actually the worst thing to use if you're a criminal.
Used for drug trafficking, weapons, terrorism, human trafficking. Not only that, cryptocurrency also affects the economy of countries, of other currencies, real currencies with real value. Actually,
no. Real currency, whatever that means, is actually affected by money printing. Real economies print money into oblivion. The Venezuelan bolivar, the Zimbabwe dollar, even the dollar itself loses its value because they printed money to oblivion. Because you can't create money out of nothing. So when you print more money, you dilute the supply and you dilute its value and you cause inflation. So actually, Bitcoin solves that problem because Bitcoin has a fixed supply that you cannot dilute away. It's the opposite of that. So if you want to target something that harms the economy, target fiat.
That cryptocurrency gives unknown people, maybe criminals, power to take control or affect our economy. So I think we can all agree that Bitcoin...
Actually, on that point, I've got to confirm this one, but I heard that the Malaysian government banned the shorting of their ringgit, their currency, because it was affecting their economy. So actually trading currencies on Forex trading, that's what affects the value of currencies. Did you know that? So Forex trading or trading currencies on the open market, that's what actually affects economies as well. So no, brother, not Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the solution to the problem. It's the cure to the disease. It's not the disease.
Cryptocurrency has high uncertainty and high risk. In Arabic, we call it gharar.
Yeah, so this is another deception. Not entirely, but it is in a way. Gharar. So if I sold you something, look, brother, I have a bag here. That I'm not gonna tell you what's in it, but it's valuable. I'll sell it to you for £10. Now, if you bought that, that's gharar because you have no idea what's inside that bag. It's unknown what's inside that bag. So you're actually purchasing something which is unknown. So now look how he's using that here.
And gharar, dealing with gharar, is something that's forbidden in Islam.
Yeah.
That's why gambling, riba, all these things are haram, not allowed in Islam.
On that issue, yeah, riba. From one of the issues of riba, if I borrow £10 from you and I said, yeah, if I pay back late, I'll give you 1% every day I'm late. One of the reasons why it's haram is because I have no idea how many days I'll be late. So I may be paying a whole lot more and I have no idea. Gharar. I don't know how much I'm going to pay in the end. It's unknown. Yeah, it's true.
Let's be honest now. When people are talking about...
So you got something else. So what he's saying here, Bitcoin though, he's saying that when you buy, if I bought £1 worth of, £10 worth of Bitcoin, I don't know what I'm buying because it's going to go up, it's going to go down. It's gharar. Wrong, brother. The price going up or going down is after the fact. But if I gave you £10 and you gave me one Bitcoin, I know how much I got. I got one Bitcoin. That's not gharar. I actually got one Bitcoin and I paid for one Bitcoin. It's not like I paid for an unknown amount of Bitcoin. I actually paid for one Bitcoin and I got that with my money. So it's not gharar. You get the gist. You get the gist.
Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, and they're so interested about it today. Why is it? It's a currency. Are you just really interested that you just want to use it for your day-to-day use? No. And we all know the truth. They all want to make money out of it. They think this is an opportunity for them to make more money.
And that is very, very true. And I agree with him here, alhamdulillah. He made a good point. Which is why, those of you who've been following me, those of you who know me, I always say, and I've always been saying, do not buy a Bitcoin to make more fiat. I have always said from the very beginning, fiat is dying. Bitcoin is your lifeboat, it's your savior. Do not buy Bitcoin for the goal of buying back more fiat. That's literally like saying, I'm going to buy gold, I'm going to exchange I'm going to exchange waste, like banana peels. I'm going to exchange banana peels for gold so I can buy more banana peel. No. You want to get rid of your banana peels and keep your gold. Why would you want to give up your gold? Get Bitcoin and keep it. And when you need to buy stuff, then buy stuff with it. But don't, if your goal is to eventually buy more fiat, then you've missed the point. And what he said is true. He's made a good point. Great.
This is where gharar applies. This is high risk, uncertain currency, goes up and down, fluctuating, and people just want to get into it to have a chance to make a quick buck, as they say.
Yes and no. I mean, if your goal of buying Bitcoin is only to get more pounds, it's not necessarily gharar, because that's the same reason why you buy anything to trade. You buy fruits, you buy pens from China, and you go on Amazon, you sell it for a higher price because you hope you can get a price. Everybody buys a product to sell it, to hopefully make a profit, and you may not make a profit. That's not necessarily gharar. That's not gharar. Gharar, like I said to you, is when you buy something, but you have no idea what you're going to buy. So I literally say, here's a bag. I'm going to buy this bag off of you. I have no idea what's in it, but I'm going to give you 10 for it. That's gharar. So yeah, if I said to you, like, here's 100 quid, give me all the Bitcoin you have. How much Bitcoin you have, I'm not going to tell you. That's gharar, yeah. But that you get just. Of
course, people love shortcuts, so they want to make a lot of money or a quick buck without any work or effort.
And that's very, very true. I've been in this game long enough. I see people say, I want to buy Bitcoin. Why? Because I want to buy a Lambo, I want to do so. Yeah, it's true. There are plenty of people who come into this space. All they want to do is make more money, get Lambo, drip, moon, blah, blah, blah. And then they come to you, bro, what do you about XRP? What do you about Ethereum? What do you reckon about Moon Coin? And all they care about all these crap coins. Yeah, and those people, they're going to come in, they're going to buy these coins, hoping to go up, and it's going to go down, they're going to lose, they're going to get burned. Yeah, that's true. And which is why I always tell them, don't do that. Don't buy those other coins full stop, and buy Bitcoin once you understand what it is and have good reason to do so. I hope I'm giving you guys enough reason to do so, but you get the gist.
Really, it has like a picture, or it's very similar to gambling.
It can be in behavior, not in function. So if I have no idea what's going on, I'm just going to buy these coins and I hope it goes up, and then if it goes up, it goes up. It can behave, look like gambling, but that's not actually what gambling is. Gambling is, I put a bet. If it goes this way, I win. It goes that way, I lose. Whereas here, you buy something, you have it. It may go up, it may go down, but you still have it. It has value in itself. So that's not the same as gambling. I mean, I could buy an old banger, and I hope that I can sell this banger after I fix it up and get more money for it. But I might not. Is that a gamble? That's an investment, isn't it?
I'll buy 1 Bitcoin and I'll keep it, or I'll buy, 10 Bitcoins and I'll keep it. I'll see if it increases in value, and then I'll sell it.
Exactly. So if that's your mindset, then don't do it. Like he said, follow his advice. This is actually the part of this video, which is true.
Also, don't get confused. Some countries, some places, they're accepting Bitcoin, accepting to deal with Bitcoin. That does not mean...
See, I told you he doesn't care. Remember I said to you earlier on, he doesn't care? He doesn't care. He makes an argument that he doesn't really care about, and then he refutes himself later on.
That they have insured its value, just like the currency or the real currency that I talked about. So don't get confused with that. I know
the real riba currency, yeah? The real riba. Yeah, that's great.
Many countries have accepted it. And why did they accept it? Because they saw that there is benefit from it, and they don't want to lose the transaction and it hurts their economy. So they evolved into dealing and accepting Bitcoin.
So this is hypocrisy, because some scholars have said, or him as well, oh, Bitcoin is haram because no government accepts it. But then Haraam is saying, even if they accept it, it's still haram. I mean, make your mind up. If they accept it, it's halal, or even if they accept it, it's still haram, make your mind up. You can't just have your cake and eat it. You can't say it's haram because they don't accept it, but if they do, it's still haram.
Country, like I said, will guarantee the value of Bitcoin and will reserve the rights of it.
Yeah, actually, Venezuela, El Salvador just did it. They just did it Wednesday. They said exactly that. They will guarantee it. They actually have a $150 million fund to guarantee the value of Bitcoin. They're actually doing that.
I said officially produce it and adopt it and whatnot.
Yeah, El Salvador, yeah.
No, dealing with cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, this is called nazila. It's something new. It never happened before. It never existed before. Don't deny. Some scholars or experts, they said that it's permissible to use it and deal with it. But Also, many scholars, and what I have read and understood, said that it's not allowed, prohibited, and haram to deal with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in general.
And this is where I have my issue with him, is that he said he's the other scholars, and he said he's scholars, and he behaves like he's read and whatnot, but he has no willingness to discuss with someone about his opinion. And that's really bad, in my view. If someone came to you and said, brother, I want to know about, I heard that istighatha, seeking help by the dead, is shirk. Could you explain it to me, please? Because my sheikh said it's alright. Oh, no, I ain't got time to discuss it with you. Bruv, I've come to you to discuss something with you. Explain to me, isn't it? Isn't that at the very least? Anyway, you get the gist. I'm not going to repeat myself.
Given what I have said today and explained in this video, I follow that it is prohibited, not allowed to use Bitcoin.
Yeah.
To do if you have already bought some Bitcoin and you don't know what to do with it. The answer is simple. You sell it as soon as possible if you are not losing the value that you bought it with. So for example, you bought it for 1,000 dirhams, the Bitcoin, and today the value, it's for example 10,000. So sell it. Sell it straight away, and whatever money you made is for you, inshallah. But if it's in loss, so if it's less than 1,000, then wait for it to become 1,000, like the real value that you bought it with, and then sell it as soon as you can. Allahu Akbar.
Did you hear that? He's actually saying, after all of that, to now trade Bitcoin. He's saying to trade Bitcoin. Listen, you heard it yourself here, yeah? He's saying, if you're in loss, hodl your Bitcoin, hodl it until you reach back your profit, and then sell it. He's actually telling you to trade Bitcoin. He said to hodl it until you get your profit. What? You just said it was haram. Now you're saying to hodl it. And on top of that, there's the additional hypocrisy, is that he actually is admitting to himself in that statement that Bitcoin will go back up. Even if it's gone down, it will come back to its price. See, that he's actually admitted that Bitcoin has stability. Anyway, this is the video that he said recently. I cut out the parts he was repeating again, because he just repeated that same old arguments. I just wanted to highlight some of the new ones and whatnot.
Many scholars have stopped. They said we don't know about cryptocurrency, so they didn't give a fatwa. Other scholars and committees, they said it's haram. And one of the scholars is Sheikh Sulaiman al-Rahimi, that I follow and I trust his knowledge.
Now, this is what I find really bad, because he mentioned those scholars who made tawaqquf, who stopped, mentioned scholars who say it's haram, and never made any mention of scholars who say it's halal. How's that fair? How? You're giving the impression to the Muslim Ummah that there are only really two opinions. Those who don't know, so they remain quiet, and those who know and said haram. So how's that being fair and just? And by the way, there's only so far you can go but in terms of putting fatwa of scholars in front of you and hiding behind it. You can't hide behind fatwa. If a fatwa is manifest wrong, doesn't make sense, doesn't even add up to it is verifiably false. Listen carefully. Listen carefully. If a scholar said that this vessel here is haram because anyone who looks at it goes blind, yeah. If I could verify that it's not the case, what gives me the right to still still convey this fatwa that as if it's real? Bruv, it's verifiably false. I'm looking at it. I'm not gone blind. Why are you still telling people that it's haram? We have claims about Bitcoin that is verifiably false. I just falsified them just now. But he's still trying to hide behind a fatwa that is verifiably false. And on top of that, when people come to him in a nice way to try and invite him to discuss this, he refuses to listen. And on top of that, he makes dua that I die.
Now, one of the main reasons why it's haram is because there is no official entity or government that guarantees the currency.
And what government guarantees the value of gold or guarantees the value of silver ever in history? Or whatever, anyway, whatever.
Like, for example, currencies of a country, the government of that country guarantees its currency. In cryptocurrency, it's not the same. It's ambiguous. Nobody guarantees it.
No, mathematics guarantees its value. Traceable history guarantees its value. Watch my videos about minding and whatnot. It's in there.
Prophet ﷺ said, leave what's unclear to what's clear.
And the last part, leave what's unclear to what's clear. No, that is advice. دع ما يريبك إلى ما لا يريبك. Leave what is unclear than that which is clear. Yeah, that's just good advice. But how about when it actually manifests clear? Manifest clear as day. There is enough material out there in terms of videos, write-ups, audios, interviews that clarifies what Bitcoin is very clearly. So if you don't want to do it because it's unclear to you, then fair enough. But don't come here telling us that it's unclear to everybody. It's only unclear to you, my friend. Anyway, madrasa is finished now. It's 6:30, and the kids are going to come out in a minute. So I did want to entertain some questions. So what I'll do, I'll make it up tomorrow. I'll come back on here tomorrow at let's say 1 o'clock. 1:30, because I might have a meeting at 12 o'clock. So 1:30 tomorrow, UK time, and then we'll catch up any questions. So on my Instagram page, on the question bit, write up any questions you want me to address specifically if I haven't already addressed it here. And hopefully, inshallah, this has been beneficial for all of us, and hopefully it's got allowed me to release some tension that I've had for many long times from listening to these fatwa. They have really frustrated me. They really got my goat. But alhamdulillah, I think I've got it out now. I think I've released. Anyway, hope it's beneficial. May Allah bless you all and give you all plenty Bitcoin. Assalamu alaikum.